Alright guys, we are going to start this lesson on Solidworks Lesson 2. So for this we have a little bit more intricate part. We're going to be getting into making three-dimensional parts this time. We're introducing the boss extrude, which is basically just taking a flat sketch and I always don't know how to say it without using the word extrude. We'll extend it, in one direction, and that'll make it three-dimensional. Taking a two-dimensional sketch, making it three-dimensional. We're also going to show you how to make a plane. We'll use the cut extrude feature. We'll use the fillet feature to actually go over how to make fillets on like a 3D object instead of just in sketches. And then we're also going to go over using the mirror tool for actual entities. So if you look at this part, obviously you wouldn't want to make both of these. You wouldn't want to make this thing twice. So we're actually just going to make half of it. We're going to basically split it down the middle right here and then mirror the entire thing over to the other side. So we're going to go ahead and get a new part up. And then here is the schematic for it. So we're going to start here and we'll look at this base piece right here. So if you see, we're going to end up with, or we're going to start with this base piece right here, this boss extrude. So we're actually not going to make the whole thing, even though this entire thing is highlighted. When you make one of these boss extrudes, because I use this mirror here at the end, this piece, since it was based off of this boss extrude, and it's extending itself, or mirroring itself, I should say, it just kind of gets lumped in when you click on this, because this section is based off of this other section we made first. So we'll go ahead, go into the new part and get started. So we'll look at the schematic, and basically when we look at these numbers, we're going to just take everything and basically cut it in half. So like this 20, we're going to cut it right in half, 12, 36, 22, these are all just going to be cut in half. So 6, 18, 10, 11. So we're going to start by making this kind of odd, somewhat rectangular shape, and we're just going to go ahead and make it rough and then use the smart dimensions to figure it all out. So we'll get started on the top plane. Look at the origin right there. I'll take a midpoint line and make that. Escape. Go to the line tool. Then make one kind of at a 45-degree angle. Come over here. Make another. We'll at least get these lined up somewhat. Okay. Click OK. Then if we look back here, we can actually get some of these dimensions here. So we see that this corner, use a smart dimension, go ahead and make this piece 56 units. And actually write units, millimeter, gram, second. So when you want to change the units, what you'll do is you'll just come over here, click the gear to go to settings, and go to document properties, units, and go ahead and click that, millimeter, gram, second. Go back in, right click on the sketch, click edit sketch, we're still at 56. Now let's go back here. And this corner right here and this corner right here are 16 apart. So we'll do a smart dimension, we'll click here, that point, and then this point, and we'll drag it until we get to the horizontal dimension. This will be 16. And we'll come back over here, see that if you look at A, this entire piece, the width from this tip to this tip is 66. So we'll cut that in half since we're going to mirror it. We'll go ahead and make a smart dimension from this line to this line. Make it 33. Make sure that's all right. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So now we can move on to making this little piece right here. So this is going to be 27 apart from this corner to this corner. I actually just took a look at it, and I think I made a little bit of a mistake here. Okay, so go back over to this, and if we looked over, we could see there's supposed to be a 45-degree angle for that one. So go here, align this line and that line to get an angular dimension. We'll make this and make it 45 degrees. So this one's also supposed to be 45 degrees, which you can see right there, and the distance between this point and this point should be 10. So go ahead and do another one of these for this line, make it 45 degrees. Then we'll take this point and this point, make a horizontal, and then do 10. Go ahead and OK that. And that should be what we need to go ahead and make these holes. So first we're going to make these holes and show them the linear pattern tool. So we're going to take a circle, we're going to make it kind of at an arbitrary space because I don't want to give it any dimensions yet. So when we come over and look at here, we see that the center of this circle is supposed to be 12 from this line and 8 from the bottom line. So come in here and do another smart dimension. Go ahead and make that bottom line. And then we will make the horizontal dimension. And OK that. Then look back here. Okay, so if we go to now look at doing this linear pattern, let's take a look at the schematic. See, these holes are 27 millimeters apart. Let's go back in here. We'll do a linear sketch pattern. Pick our direction. You see it's on the x-axis. We want it going this way. So in this situation, it'll be the x-axis. And then we'll pick entities to pattern. Go ahead and click on that circle. You'll see it'll get this arrow right here. You can, ooh, hold on, that was not what I wanted to do. I'm going to change this as well. Go back to that. Okay, so we'll click linear pattern. For entities, we are just going to pick this arc, or this circle. And this distance will be 27. So over here you can also click reverse direction. I could put it over here. Obviously we're not going to do that. And I can also pick the number. So if I wanted to do this, I could keep adding circles, but we don't need to do that this time. As well as I could even put it, I could base it off of that and then start rotating it as well if I wanted to kind of play around with it and see where it went. So you have these kinds of options, and then if I wanted to go for direction 2, I could pick that and then start kind of going into things. But we don't really need to do that right now. Basically, I could activate that by adding more than one. If it's just one, obviously that's the same object. But if I click 2, now I have another one. It'll also copy this other circle that I'm patterned in the X direction if I choose to do that. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. Use this one 27 millimeter. And I believe that should be all we need for that spot. Let me check the other one. I think we're good. We just need to set the diameter of this circle, and then we'll be okay. So go ahead and make the circle diameter of 7. That should agree here. Yeah, because you'll see up here it's the diameter of 7. Okay, so we will go back to the sketch. And now we have everything we need to make our first boss extrude. So we're going to exit this. Go to extruded boss base. Actually, we're going to do it from the sketch itself. This is a little bit easier. We'll go, so I'm in a sketch right now. And what I can do is I can go over to the features tab, which is where I'll make all of my 3D stuff. And then I can click extruded boss base, and it'll assume I want to use that sketch, which we do in this case. Now I want this to go down from the top plane because I want to be able to use the top plane to set up the flanges that are going to come up. So I have it blind right now. First of all, we'll see how deep we want it to be. This is 4 millimeters thick. So we'll go ahead and reverse this direction. Make it 4 millimeters. Now we have the first part of our boss extrude. So the next piece we need to do is we need to start making one of these flanges. Zoom out here, make that a little easier. So we're going to have to make, you can see right here, I made the center line to be kind of right here on this object, but I want this flange to be a little bit offset. In fact, I want it, you can see, so this is the center line, we cut this in half, this is a 6 from the center line, that is the start of this flange. So what I need to do is make a plane. I guess technically we could do it another way, but I think this would also let the kids see how to make a plane. Another way to do it would be to kind of just sketch right here on the front plane, which would coincide here, and then I could make a boss extrude and then just offset the, and then I could just offset the extrude. But we'll go ahead and show them how to use the plane tool. So for the to make a plane that we're going to be able to make sketches on, we're going to stay in this features tab, hit reference geometry, and then click plane. So the first reference is the front plane. I want it to be parallel to the front plane. And then my second reference is going to be this face. I'm going to offset it. No, they don't want me to do it that way. Let's see. How did I do this? So this one I just did off the face. So we'll just do it that way. Go ahead and exit out of this so I can switch over. First reference will just be this face, and then I will offset it 6 millimeters. And then I will flip that direction just by clicking. In this situation, it's not like those arrows going back and forth. It's this flip offset. And then I can also start making multiple planes, but again, we're not going to do that right now. So start there, and what you'll see is that this plane, it's kind of like matching this face, but the thing about a plane is that it basically extends infinitely in 2 directions. If it was slanted, yeah, technically it'd be 3 directions, but like if you're looking normal to a plane, you go left, right, up, down, and those are your options. So we'll go ahead and make this plane, and then to make it easier, just kind of keep it out of our way. Just make it bigger than we need it to be. Okay, so now what I can do is I can right click on this plane and hit sketch. And I'm going to start making a sketch on this plane. Now for this flange, we're going to make it, it's going to be coincident on the piece. Obviously we want them touching. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make that baseline for it. It's going to be the same width. So what I'll do is I'll click, so I'll stay in my sketch. What I'll do is I'll click on this edge of the extrude, and I'll use this convert entities tool. What this will do is essentially, like it says here, convert selected model edges or sketch entities into sketch segments. So if I see something that I want to use again on another plane or another sketch, I can click on it. In this example, it's this edge right here because I want to use the same line. And this is on another plane, but I want to put it on this plane, so I'll click on that edge and hit convert entities. And what that'll do is it'll just create that exact same line on the sketch I'm using. Basically, it'll project it onto this plane. So now I have the base of my flange. Okay, this flange is a little bit tricky, so what we're going to do is go ahead and make some of the lines, and then I'm going to go ahead and put these circles in, because we can kind of take them over and then make them tangent, and that'll make this whole thing a lot easier. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and make this first line here. We'll take the line over to some distance, and then we'll make these other lines later on after we put these circles in. Because like you see these lines, like they didn't really give you an angle, and this line is a little bit tricky here. There's no like real easy way to define it if I were to just go ahead and try to like make these curves. So it'll be easier to kind of just make these two and then make the circles, and then define these other lines off of those. So we'll go over here and we'll see that one needs to be 32, and then we'll make a line 39.5. And then we'll use the trim tool to trim it up. So go back in here, get this oriented the way we want it. Which I don't know if I actually stated this yet, but if you want to just rotate something in 3 dimensions, just click down on your mouse wheel and then you can start rotating. So go ahead and take this line, go up here, make another one over here. I believe those should be the ones I want to use. Yeah, 39.5, and then we'll go ahead and make this circle right here. Go ahead and trim that little piece off right there, and then I'll actually get rid of the entity I had. And now I've actually got this where I need it. I'm going to have to replace this though. There you go, 39.5. And we'll see how high we want it. 37.5 from the bottom. We'll get our diameter. We want this to be 9, and then this is what we're going to use a cut extrude here. Is that 19? Yeah, okay. And then what we notice is that we kind of want this line to come down and then meet over here, and then we're going to fillet it later. So we're going to take this line, take it, make it totally vertical, and then what you can see is you've got the coincident, because it's coincident on this line, it's vertical, and then the circle with the line going tangent to it is the tangent relation. Okay, so out of that, we'll trim away that little, zoom in, trim away that little inside piece, and now we've got that line that we need. And we'll go back over here and we'll put this circle in. So this circle is going to be 10 millimeters in diameter. The center will be 13 up, and it's this is kind of one of those times where you can make assumptions. This circle right here is coincident, or it's vertically coincident with this edge. So make another circle. We'll get that automatic snap. Make it. Go ahead and do it here. And then put the smart dimension in. And then this should be 13. And what we'll do is we'll take a line from this point, because we're doing another kind of tangent line. Get it to go tangent there. If I click on that one, it assumed I wanted that tangent relation, which is what I want here. Which that you can kind of just infer from looking at this piece. Like they didn't give you any sort of point to put it at, so you can kind of just go, since it kind of just snaps into this arc right here, that it's a tangent line. Then what we'll do is we have a little bit, they didn't give you quite enough information to begin with on this one. So you come over here and see what was edited. We need to make a tangent line just vertically 4.64 millimeters down, and then we'll connect this 15.5 millimeter line to the very top of this circle. Oh, another trick is if you want to see this in 3D and kind of pick a view, you can click the space bar and this will come up. And I just want to get normal to it. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go until I find this little dot and get coincident on one of the 4 kind of, I guess we could call them base points for when you make a circle. Come here, make it vertical and tangent. did that assumption for us. Make this 4.64. And then this is pretty much fully defined, so when we snap this, we don't need to put another smart dimension on the other piece. It's just going to snap right here to this top line. Now we have one more circle to put in here. It'll be 19 up and 12 over with a diameter of 19 on this outer one. So go and put that 12 in. And then, yeah, 19 high. And there we go. Now we have all the pieces we need for that. Well, actually, I want to go back in there, do the feature again. And for this, I'm actually, if you look at, I guess I'll show you here, if you look at this part, you see this is kind of separate. I'm going to make a separate extrude for this. So what I'm actually going to do is trim away this piece right here, this part of the edge, and then we're going to go through and use the Convert Entities tool and make this piece its own extrude later. Go ahead and swap that around so it's familiar. You go into the sketch, trim entities, and then take this piece off. We're going to make this extrude, and it needs to be, for this one, they don't actually tell you the thickness of it, but they tell you that this inside portion is 12 between them. So again, we did 6 there, and the outside portion is 10 from end to end. So cut that in half, and it's 10. So 10 minus 6 is 4. This will be another 4 millimeter extrude. Go ahead and flip the direction, click on all of our entities. And here it's kind of assuming we don't want these circles in, so what we just do is we just go to the inside of the circle and include them. Otherwise, it'll kind of give you that, just that hole in the middle. We don't want to put any holes in it yet. Okay, now we can start using, well, actually I made a mistake there, so which is one thing to show the kids. Actually, if you want to just do it that way, make that mistake, because then you can go through and show them the edit feature tool. So right click on this, go to edit feature, and you'll see it opens up. I'm actually going to click these off. I'm not going to make them yet, because if you look at the schematic, hold on, it's actually, and just delete these out and start over, and just pick that. Hold on. There we go. Because if you look at this part, you'll see that these kind of extend outwards slightly more. I want to make these off of a single extrude, each one by itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go around to this other side, and I'm going to start a sketch on that face of it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this entity. I'll take this center point arc, I'll pick that same center point that's right there, and right there, assuming I want this 300 and restart that piece. I think a tangent arc would actually be the easiest way because it would just snap right in. Yeah, there we go. So make that tangent arc, and you'll see we're right at the back side of this flange. So that's okay. Then this one we can just convert it. And we'll look at the thickness we need. So these are 22 apart, so these are actually going to be 1 millimeter past this edge. But coming back from this piece, which was a 4 millimeter, we need to make a 5 millimeter extrude. This we're coming from this back side, and it's 4 thick on like this way. So now we'll make another extrude, make it 5. And one thing to notice here, I'll go ahead and change that direction, is this merge result tab. So what happens is if I make an extrude like near another extrude, like two three-dimensional bodies that are coincident, that are touching each other, I can just tell the software to assume they're part of the same piece of metal, or whatever I'm making this out of. So clicking merge result will cause all of this to just make it into one piece. So now we can do that. And we have to make a separate one for this because this is actually going to extend out further than the other one. In fact, it's going to be from that midline, that'll be 18, 18 minus 6, 12. Okay, so this will be 12 apart. So I'll sketch on this face again. I'll go here. I will convert entities. Take that tangent piece. And then I'll go ahead and extrude it. Change the direction again, 12 millimeters. And make sure that merge result is on. Okay, so now it's starting to take shape. You can see I've got pretty much what I want towards the end. We're close to just getting the mirror piece done. But now I want to make these holes. And you'll see I want a 10 millimeter diameter hole here, an 8 millimeter hole diameter here, and it's through, meaning it's going to go from the front to the back. It's a hole all the way through the piece. So I'll go here. What I can do is, since these are actually coincident, like these line up, like this edge right here lines up with this edge, which would be easier to see if I make it perfect, so that they line up. So I can actually, because they're on that same plane, I can just go ahead and right click on this one, right click on this little face right here, do a sketch, what I'll do to make this easy is I'll convert this circle and this one into the plane I'm using. Then what I'm going to do is be able to match up this center hole. This one's supposed to be 8, so we'll make this a radius of 4. This one is 10, so it's a radius of 5. So really, I just converted these entities so that it would give me the center point, and it would be a lot easier to figure out where I wanted it, instead of like making these circles and then putting more smart dimensions in. Then what I'll do is I'll go to features, and I'll use extruded cut. So a cut, again, sounds exactly what is exactly what it sounds like. I'm taking away material rather than creating material. I'm going to go to extruded cut. I'll go to my selected contours, and I'm going to click that circle and that circle. And because there's really like nothing getting in my way, what I'm going to do is, instead of using a blind, which all blind means is you go from like that plane that you're on, if you don't offset it, is that plane, and then just one direction. And then if I wanted to, I could go through all, and I could say, okay, I want to go through all material in one direction. And the easy way is, like, in this situation, since there's no material in our way, either way, I could even go through all both, which means it would just go through all material in both directions. So we'll just use that. Easy. Now we've got the holes that we needed. So the only thing left to do now is to add these fillets, these 3D fillets. So we'll stay here in the Features tab. We'll go to the Fillet tool, which is going to fill. A fillet is a rounded edge, and then if I put a chamfer in something, it's a straight line. So like if I chamfer this, it's going to make this straight line. It's going to take out material, but I don't want to do that. I just want to do a fillet. So I'm going to click on this edge. If we want to look at the schematic, I have a fillet here, here. We want to put a fillet right here as well. And the only reason this says 2 times is because I believe because it's going to be mirrored over here. We also want to fillet these edges you can see over here. We'll fillet like right here, right here, right here, and right here on the base. So since these are all actually a radius of 2, what we can do is just click a bunch. We can click all these edges that we want and just do it one time. So I want to fillet that, I want to fillet that. And we'll go ahead and make this 2 millimeters so it doesn't start giving us errors when we get to certain pieces. Like I couldn't put a 10 millimeter fillet right here, it wouldn't work. Click this edge. Okay, we'll click this edge, this edge, this edge, and this edge. So I go ahead and just make all of these. Ooh, I started rolling over things. I didn't even know I could do that. Okay. So there's 7 of them there. There's one more, and the one fillet we're missing is, we're actually supposed to fillet this piece as well. But one thing to notice is, if you look at this edge right here, I'm taking away material. I've clicked a corner, and I'm going to kind of push in this way and do it. But if I click a corner, if I click like the inside of a corner like this, it's actually going to add material. So you can use fillets in both ways. Let me make sure. I believe these should be filleted as well. I think this one, go ahead and check the other part, make sure. Yes, we're actually supposed to have a fillet here as well, here. And you can fillet like these kind of rounded surfaces, as you can see. It doesn't have to just be straight lines. Yes, we want one here, here, and then right here as well. And on this internal piece as well. Okay, so we can go ahead and add all those. So go through, make it 2 so we don't get any errors. Click right here, go up, get that edge, get this edge, this one. It's not giving me my preview. That should be all the ones we need. Give me an error on the first one. Hold on. Okay, so I skipped ahead in the recording and just highlighted all the ones you needed. You'll see these 4 edges right here on the base, then these 2 pieces on the flange and base, the circle right here, and then these 2 edges right here. Ooh, I actually left one off right there. There we go. And then that right there is all the fillets we need. As you see, now we've got something that matches this other piece that we made over here. I was getting an error with this fillet, and I'm not quite sure why, so I've just left that off for now. I'd like to figure that out so that way we can get it fully done. But for now, we'll just leave that one be. Okay, next we need to use the mirror tool. And just basically we're going to mirror this entire piece right here. Instead of clicking just that one feature, we're just going to go over everything. Should be able to take the entire body. We have all, look over here, there should be, yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 boss extrudes, 1 cut extrude, and then the entirety of all the fillets we made, since we made them all in one fillet. Okay, then we'll pick our mirror face plane, so I could actually just do it across here, and it would give me everything I needed. I can just pick that face, or I could go and pick the front plane. That's the right thing. And it would also give me that. So then we will just go to mirror, and there you have it. There is your finished product.